Shalom. The Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Come out 1 West, 125th Street, New York. GEN.YAHANNA, GEN.YAHANNA. Since 1969, I've been teaching Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians our true identity according to the Bible. I'm saying the Lord's chosen people and the only people that the God of the Bible gives a damn about. I'm saying, and of course, that this man that has been oppressing us for over 400 years. I'm saying the same ones that forced us into the reservations and murdered us and raped our women. I'm saying is nothing more than the goddamn devil that the Bible speaks of. I'm saying today's class is going to be about the God of the Bible. I'm saying the Holy Bible being a racist. I'm saying a man that only loves a certain nation of people out of all the other nations that he created on this earth. I'm saying, and we'll go into how, even though he's a racist, that we should follow in his example. Because our nation, we could truly grow as a whole if we decide to be just like the Most High. I'm saying if we decided to keep these laws, statutes, and commandments, if we decide to only love our own and to say to hell with them other nations. But today we're going to be starting in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7 and verse 6. I'll give you a second to get there. Let's lock you. So go ahead and share the class. I'm saying tag every single native that there is that you know. I'm saying share the groups. I'm saying do what you can in order to get this truth, I'm saying, to spread across the reservations. So if you ain't gonna come into I.S.U.P.K, I'm saying, to help us spread this truth. I'm saying every little bit that you do counts. So lock you. One more second. All right, we're going to go ahead and get into it. Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7 and verse 6. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. So we're going to break this down. I'm saying, because those of us that are, sadly inside of the Christian church, I'm saying, we don't even get the basic knowledge of this scripture right here. I'm saying, so when the Lord says that we are a holy people, I'm saying, the word holy, it don't mean some type of, spiritual mumbo jumbo that the Christian church makes it out to be. I'm saying, the word holy simply means to be separate. So the Lord is telling natives, I'm saying, and blacks and Hispanics, that we are to be people that are separate from all these other nations. Slovakia. I'm saying, we're people that's supposed to have, standards and morals and, just an overall better way of thinking than these other people. I'm saying, so that's why we got the dietary laws. Why we're not supposed to be eating pork or shrimp, crab, lobster, I'm saying, catfish, and any type of, disgusting animal out there that these other nations eat. I'm saying, a perfect example of, a nation to look at that eats, things that the nation of Israel should not touch is, so-called Asians. I'm saying, the Chinese, Japanese, I'm saying, all these countries in Asia, I'm saying, they all eat all types of absolutely disgusting, I'm saying, abominable and unclean things, I'm saying, that to the Lord. I'm saying, they're eating all these things that so-called natives should not be touching as a whole. But yeah, because we follow so much in the ways of our oppressor and the ways of all these other heathen nations, I'm saying, we eat these things and we look at them as if they are damn near something above God, because we would rather die before we give these things up. Saying, which is why so many natives on the reservation are out there eating pork. So not only is it something that is cheap, that is provided to our people by our oppressor, I'm saying, the white man, but it's just something that is incorporated into every day of life, damn near. Whether it's just, I'm saying, some goddamn bacon, pork chops, I'm saying, whether you chop it up and put it into a stew, goddamn spam. I'm saying, because I know spam is just, I'm saying, that's like a damn near a way of life on the res. I'm saying, that's a necessity that people think that they need in their households. So when really, us as a nation, we shouldn't be touching, any unclean animal, no matter what. I'm saying, no matter what it is, no matter if it's a goddamn rabbit, I'm saying, a pig. What's some other thing, unclean things, like catfish, frogs, I'm saying, things in that nature. I'm saying, us as a nation, we shouldn't be touching these type of things, because we're supposed to be different from these other nations. Because soon enough, I'm saying, the Lord is going to send, the same thing that he sent against them goddamn Asians, I'm saying, across the sea. I'm saying, you see that they're getting ravaged by that coronavirus. I'm saying, them and the devils in Europe. I'm saying, I believe there's a case in the Middle East. I'm saying, they're getting absolutely ravaged by it. I'm saying, they might not have very many deaths right now, but if you look into the news, you'll see that, that I believe it was either the Chinese or Japanese. I'm saying, they quarantined a whole goddamn city. They weren't letting anybody in. They weren't letting anybody out. I'm saying, they were trying to contain it because, this is just such a a serious epidemic that is happening over across the seas. You know what I'm saying? And there was recently a case that was reported in, I believe, California and in Nevada. For those of us that want to sit there and still eat all the pork that we can, not giving a damn about, all the parasites and diseases and viruses and all of that you get from it. I'm saying, just know that because we are the Lord's chosen people, because we're supposed to be separate from these other nations. He's saying soon enough, he's going to send a virus to that pork that you're eating. He's going to send a virus in that can of Spam that you're cracking open to cook for the family. I'm saying he's going to do that. I'm saying because at the end of the day, he cares for our people. I'm saying if he didn't care for our nation, then he would just let us do whatever the hell it is that we please. He let us go ahead and eat that pork. You know what I'm saying? Eat that shrimp, crab, lobster, and then shellfish, so on and so forth. He'd let us do those things. Because the Lord, he created all these different types of animals, and he created ones to clean up the earth, you know what I'm saying, to eat the garbage and all these disgusting things that are harmful to, the people of earth. And in doing so, these animals, they develop parasites, they develop diseases and obviously viruses and just all types of disgusting things that you would not want to ingest unless you wanted to get sick. Unless you want to get a sickness and spread it and eventually die. So he made sure to create laws for us to keep in order to stay away from these type of animals that could get us sick. But instead, naturally, us as a nation, because we've been destroyed for so long, we would much rather just listen to our oppressor. We'd much rather be like, you know what? This white man right here, he says pork, it's cool. I'm saying he ain't gonna hurt me. He's selling it for cheap, so why don't I just pick me up a couple pounds? You know what I'm saying? Freeze it and I'll eat it over time. I'll be good. I'm saying, and when in reality, we won't be good, because the Lord, at the end of the day, he'll send swift and righteous judgment upon our people. You know what I'm saying? Upon our nation. It don't matter if you eat it every so often. It don't matter if you just try to space it out so that you don't get sick. I'm saying eventually the Lord's going to give you a parasite. He's going to give you a sickness, the same type of sickness that has swept throughout our lands in the past and absolutely decimated our populations. It don't matter. You're going against the Lord. So at the end of the day, saying he's gonna discipline us how it is that he sees fit. So like, I'm saying not only does that go into the dietary laws that the Lord gave us, but that also goes into doing drugs such as smoking marijuana. I'm saying popping pills, doing meth, cocaine, heroin. I'm saying things in that nature, which obviously marijuana is just a huge thing amongst the native Indian community. You know what I'm saying? You can't run across, a native in, let's say, their 40s and below, 40s, 50s and below, that is sitting there and getting high off marijuana. I'm saying they're doing it so much so that really it's an epidemic amongst our people on the reservations. But yeah, because we got so many false leaders out here, you know what I'm saying, people that sit there and promote what it was that we were doing in the past, you know what I'm saying, getting high and using this altered state of mind to have visions and to try to, obviously use said state of mind to profit our people, knowing damn well that whatever it is that we're getting high off of, whether it's, you know what I'm saying, marijuana, pills, peyote, shrooms, uh I think ayahuasca. I don't know if I'm saying it right, you know what I'm saying, but that's one of them. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, these things are destroying the minds of our people, and it is keeping us submissive to our oppressor, just like it has in the past. You know what I'm saying? Just like we would sit there and we would seek out every drug known to our people at the time in order to just suppress, the oppression that it was that we were going through. You know what I'm saying? We'd sit there and we would try to find any and every type of way to get high in order to look for an escape from what it was that was happening to our nation. You know what I'm saying? Even if it was just temporary, like, shoot, I mean, really all of them is temporary, but the top one is obviously marijuana. You know what I'm saying? We'd be sitting there and we'd be getting oppressed, you know what I'm saying, murdered, raped, kidnapped, tortured, land to be taken, you know what I'm saying, things in this nature. And at the end of the day, these people that are supposed to be our leaders, you know what I'm saying, our warriors, you know what I'm saying, the ones that are supposed to be looking out for the well-being of our nation, would sit there and get high off of marijuana, would be looking for some type of vision quest in order to free our people from what it is we are going through. Same when in reality, it truly doesn't matter how many vision quests you have, how many goddamn blunts or joints or peace pipes you smoke. I'm saying, if you're sitting there and you're getting high, the Lord, he's not going to be with you at the end of the day. I'm saying, you could be a person all for your people. I'm saying, you could keep the law, statutes. So like I shouldn't even say you can keep the law, statutes, commandments, because you're breaking the law by smoking weed. You know what I'm saying, and at the end of the day, the Lord, he's truly not going to be with you. I'm saying, he's going to deliver the same judgment onto you as he did to, just some goddamn meth addict that walking on the reservation. But what's important as a people for us to realize that we are completely separate from these other nations, no matter who it is that we come across, whether it's a goddamn German, Russian, damn Englishman, Frenchman, Ukrainian, Ugandan. You know what I'm saying? It can just go on, and that goes into, obviously the Asians and Arabs. You know what I'm saying? If we realize that we are a separate people from these nations, and that we should not, in any circumstance, follow in their ways, us as a nation, we can start to, rebuild. We can start to come up in America's society, all while still remaining separate. But these things can only happen if we start to keep the law, statutes, and commandments. if we start to realize who we are as a people, because that's truly the only way that we can start to make a difference as a whole. You know what I'm saying, as a nation, is if we, come past our selfish desires. You're saying if we come past whatever it is that we thought that we knew, that we learned in American society. I'm saying, and we look inside of this book right here, and we look and we learn from the true priests and prophets to know who it is that we are as a people. Because every other nation across the earth, they know who it is that we are as a nation. Not only so-called Native Indians, the tribe of Gad, but these other nations know who the Hispanics are. I'm saying who the so-called blacks are in America. They know who we are as a whole, as a collective. I'm saying, and to simply put it, I'm saying it's the 12 tribes of Israel, the Lord's chosen people. I'm saying the same people that the Lord killed, all the firstborns of an entire nation in order to set us free. Because that's how important we are to the Most High God. I'm saying the God of the Bible. But instead, we would rather sit there and follow all these other nations, looking to seek their love. If it means that we can come up in, any society that we can get our hands in. I'm saying that includes if we simply sit there and worship and praise all of these gods of these other nations. I'm saying such as, Christianity, which obviously every native Indian on and off the res should know that Christianity was something that was just, absolutely forced upon us as a nation. You know what I'm saying? It's something that was beaten and raped into us as a whole. I'm saying across the entire land of Azareth, which, if you don't know, that's what our people truly called this land before we were invaded by the white man. So I'm gonna read that from the top. Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7 and verse 6. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. So we brought up earlier how many we're supposed to be a separate people. Saying not only did I go into obviously what we eat, you know what I'm saying, and our people being sober, but that goes into us intermingling with these other nations, more specifically our oppressor, you know what I'm saying, or the white man. Because no matter what time period it was, our people always made sure that we would sit there and we'd take us, a white wife. You know what I'm saying? Or our women would take themselves a goddamn white husband. And we don't realize that we are a nation that is completely, the complete opposite of all other nations, no matter who it is that they are. And then when it comes to everything that it is that we do as a whole, these are the simple things that we come to accept. So it's not realizing that we are separate from the white man. we start to take to ourselves, white women as our wives. We start to participate in their festivities. I'm saying we start to go ahead and accept their philosophies and ideals, doing away with our own. And if anything, we sit there and we combine their ideals and philosophies to what we already believed in, and we come up with something completely different, knowing damn well that it's not going to set, it's not going to benefit our people in any type of way. You know what I'm saying? These are just some of the very few things that happens when we sit there and accept every nation into what it is that we have. You know what I'm saying? We recognize that we are the indigenous people of this land. You know what I'm saying? That we are the so-called Native Indians, Native Americans, Aborigines, whatever the hell you want to call it. But at the same time, we still accept those that have raped and mutilated and kidnapped and stolen from us. We still accept what it is they bring to us. And we recognize them as being one with us. And saying, just think, what is that going to do as a nation? Slacky, what's that going to do to a nation as a people? That's going to absolutely ensure that we are destroyed. That's going to ensure that, us as a people, we can never truly build as a whole. We can never truly recognize our brother, which is, obviously the natives that are struggling with us in the reservations, but also the so-called blacks in the ghettos, the so-called Hispanics in the barrios. We can never recognize them as our brothers, as being one with us. But yet, we can go out of our way. We can recognize our oppressors being one with us. We can recognize him as being, shoot, damn near something more than we are as a people. And that's what happens when we sit there and we don't separate ourselves from these other nations. Not only these other nations, but separate ourselves from our oppressor. Which obviously our people should know that since 1492, there's been one main nation, I'm saying, oppressing so-called natives. I'm saying that's obviously the pink bastard that has been gobbling up everything. Saying the same man that has, sat there and lied and deceived our people into thinking we are nothing but savages. The same man that will sit there and say he is a native of this land, all because he is 1/16 Cherokee or Navajo. You know what I'm saying? Things along those natures. You know what I'm saying? Those are the main people we should be separating ourselves from. Because at the end of the day, those are the main people that us as a nation, as we'll sit there and love with everything that it is that we got. You know what I'm saying? Every fiber of our being, and we'll love these people. You know what I'm saying? They could sit there and they could burn down, the largest reservation, you know what I'm saying, in America. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's not even just a single reservation, they could burn down, in any and every reservation that they saw fit that would sit there and block whatever it is that they, wanted. And us as a whole, we would still love them. After they killed over 99 after they killed 99% of us with their diseases and their wars, what I'm saying, and famines and their forced marches, us as a nation, we still choose to love them, you know, saying unconditionally, no matter what it is that they do to us as a nation. We sit there and we'll point out how it was so terrible they did this and they did that, that it shouldn't have been done, that, oh, if only, you know, the times were changed back then to where everybody was viewed as equal. At the end of the day, these people are still going to sit there and murder us and take what it is that we have. And after they do so, us as a nation, we're still going to love them. We're still going to give everything we have to them, no matter how it is that they view us. I'm saying, but that's what happens when we have been destroyed since, 1492, for 400 years. And there's truly only one solution for our people, not to sit there and give all of our goddamn love to these people, to not sit there and, care about these people more than we do the other natives that are struggling in the reservations with us. You know what I'm saying? It's very simple. You know what I'm saying? It's so simple that you will sit there and, bang your head against a wall because you didn't think of it first. I'm saying it's just to keep the law, statutes, and commandments given to us as a nation. And there's truly only one way to learn the law, statutes, and commandments, which is to come into I.S.U.P.K under Command GEN.YAHANNA. I'm saying if you ain't in the I.S.U.P.K, you ain't getting the true breakdowns, the true teachings, and you ain't in the truth. I'm saying one thing to truly recognize is that the I.S.U.P.K is not affiliated with any other Hebrew Israelite group. You know what I'm saying? We are the home of the truth since 1969. Slovakia. We're going to go ahead and continue reading. The Lord thy God had chosen thee to be a special people unto himself. So obviously, you know what I'm saying, the God of the Holy Bible, I'm saying he's going to let us know that we are a special people unto the Lord. You know what I'm saying? Not only to, the other nations. I'm saying we aren't just someone that can, run fast, play ball, somebody that can sit there and be, a top-notch fighter or a damn intellectual amongst all these other nations, but to the Lord, we are someone that is special unto him. Which is why when we sit there and we participate in all of these, customs that these other nations practice, and, some that they've incorporated into their culture, which is why the Lord punishes us so severely as a whole. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't only punish the individual, he punishes the entire nation. Slovakia. So us as a people, we want to sit there and do as these other nations do and not be a holy nation. You know what I'm saying? A separate nation. Not be the nation that is special to the Lord. I'm saying, so we're sitting there, we're eating all these abominable foods such as pork, you know what I'm saying, shrimp, crab, lobster, so on and so forth. You know what I'm saying? The list, you know what I'm saying, the list can truly just go on and on and on and on, because we've picked up all these different eating habits from all these different nations that we've been enslaved to and oppressed by. You know what I'm saying? And the Lord, He is going to punish us, a lot more severely than these other nations. So, for instance, them disgusting Asians over there might have the coronavirus from eating, rabies and lice infested bats. So just imagine what He's going to do to so-called natives for sitting there and eating pork, something that is known to be riddled with parasites, all types of diseases, you know what I'm saying, having all types of bacteria stored inside of their bodies. So just imagine when we keep eating these animals, you know what I'm saying, as a whole, just imagine what the Lord is going to do to our nation. We thought it was bad when our oppressor first invaded our lands. You know what I'm saying? Just imagine if we just sit there and we keep up what it is that we're doing. We keep up eating these disgusting goddamn animals. You know what I'm saying? All because we can. Because our oppressor taught us that we can do these things. Just imagine what the Lord is going to do to us. Just imagine all the diseases, you know what I'm saying, the plagues and viruses that are going to sweep throughout the reservations. I'm saying, imagine all the Gadites that are going to perish, all because they did not want to listen to the Lord, because they would rather listen to the same man that oppressed us and forced his eating habits onto us as a nation. I'm saying that's just simply eating habits. You know what I'm saying? That can obviously go into beliefs, you know what I'm saying, the drug problems, and so on and so forth. Lucky. We're going to continue reading. Above all people that are upon the face of the earth. I'm saying, so this single scripture, I'm saying, which can be backed up with multiple scriptures, lets us know that we are not supposed to be equal to all the nations that are on this earth. I'm saying, we're not supposed to be all buddy and friendly and trying to get on the good side of our oppressor, because we're supposed to be above this man. You know what I'm saying, this nation. We're supposed to be looking to rule over these people. So no matter no matter what condition it is that we are in as a people, then we should be looking to have rulership, to be the ones that have the yay or nay and what it is that goes on in these lands. Not only these lands, but the lands all across the earth. Lucky. Well, because we've been, indoctrinated and enslaved for so long, we take the Christian approach, even if we don't consider ourselves Christians. I'm saying, if you sit there and love everybody, basically do as you please as these other nations, you know what I'm saying, you're nothing more than a goddamn Christian. So we take that approach, and we don't recognize ourselves as being someone that is supposed to be above these other nations. You sit there and you accept what these other people do, you're going to try to be the exact same that they are. And if you notice, we are the only nation that does such a thing, because never, ever in the history of the earth has a white man tried to be an Asian or an African. Never has an Asian tried to be, a white man or an African, and so on and so forth. Each nation has their own way of life that they make sure to preserve and keep. I'm saying each nation sits there and holds themselves at a certain standard and at such high regards that they would never stoop so low as to follow some custom of another nation that they see as being below them. But yeah, us as a people, shoot, we'll gladly sit there and we'll gladly follow the ways that all these other nations introduce to us. The ways that these other nations force on us and try to get us to, follow with every fiber of their being. When in reality, what I'm saying, us as a nation, we should rather die than follow the ways of these other nations. Because that's truly what it'll be like to recognize that you're above these other nations. Because other nations, they might make compromises. You know what I'm saying? The white man, he might sit there and eat a bat. I'm saying a squid and lobster, so on and so forth, which we can tell through all of the nations that, truly, all these other people, they take bits and pieces from each other's ideals and philosophies, and they'll make it their own. They'll incorporate it to what it is that they believe in. When us as a people, we should truly just be like, I ain't fucking with any of that. You know what I'm saying? I'm cool. You keep it. You want to get sick from eating bats and squids and all these other disgusting goddamn animals, and you want to sit there and get high, or you want to sit there and be a goddamn homosexual or a lesbian or whatever other sexuality it is that, these, just absolutely dumbfounded nations create. You know what I'm saying? We should sit there and be like, you keep that shit. We don't want nothing to do with it as a people. As a matter of fact, you stay outside of our lands, outside of our towns and our cities, and we'll do our own thing. You know what I'm saying? We'll keep what was given to us by the Most High God. Keep what was given to us by our elders in order to ensure that us as a nation, we can prosper, we can thrive and survive. But instead, we are the first ones to sit there and be like, shoot, you know what I'm saying? To hell with the law. To hell with the statutes and the commandments that were given to us. I want to sit there and do as, the Asian does, the African, the Arab, the white man. I want to do these things. When that's not what the Lord had in store for us as a nation, as a people. It's lucky. We're going to be in the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 6, verse 54. Give everybody a second to get there. Okay. So I want to address one of the questions in chat. It says, what Israelite tribe is the Neanderthals from? They are not an Israelite. In order to be an Israelite, you have to be either black, Hispanic, or Native Indian. I'm saying you have to be of the 12 tribes of Israel. I'm saying the Neanderthal, that's, you know what I'm saying, that simply comes from, you know what I'm saying, Esau, you know what I'm saying, or the so-called white man, the original caveman. So I'm going to go ahead and give you a scripture on it. It's the book of Genesis, chapter 25, and verse 25. And the first came out red. I'm saying this is talking about two brothers that were being born at the time. I'm saying two of Jacob's sons that Slakia, two of Isaac's sons that the Lord had separated at birth to be two separate nations. And the Lord let us know that the first one came out red. I'm saying you look on the face of the earth today at all the nations, whether they are European, African, Arab, Asian, Native, you know what I'm saying, so-called African American, Hispanic. You know what I'm saying there's only one group of people that is truly, you know what I'm saying, red. There's only one nation of people who, you know what I'm saying, their blood shows through their skin. And that's so-called Europeans. You know what I'm saying? The so-called white man. And the same thing goes for, you know, so-called Neanderthals. And the first came out red all over like in a hairy garment. I'm saying Neanderthals, you know, they were known to be, you know, just hairy everywhere. I'm saying their arms, chest, legs, face. You know what I'm saying? They look like a goddamn wild beast. You know what I'm saying? Like Bigfoot, if you would. And there's only one nation of people to this day that still has that same characteristic. You know what I'm saying? The same people that you can sit there and simply Google up images of, and you can find where they look like a goddamn bear when they don't shave off all of their hair. And they called his name Esau. I'm saying, and Esau is the forefather of so-called whites. You know what I'm saying? He's the forefather of all the Europeans, all the people that came from Europe over to America, and you know, basically created this land off of slavery and oppression. You know what I'm saying? That's their forefather. I'm saying there's plenty of other scriptures that can be gone into, you know what I'm saying, in the Bible, and plenty of books that can be gone into to where, you know, plenty of archaeologists and historians will sit there and tell you what nation it is today that not only is the nation of Edom, but is the same nation that came from the Neanderthals, which is the so-called, you know what I'm saying, white man. Salakia. We're gonna go ahead and get into Salakia. So we're going to go ahead and get into the rest of these scriptures. Book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 6 and verse 54. And after these, Adam also, whom thou madest Lord of all thy creatures. I'm saying, for those of us that don't know, you're saying, for those of us, you're saying, on the reservation that don't sit there and hit up the plethora of churches that are scattered abroad on the res. And even though churches don't teach you a goddamn thing about the Bible, about this book right here, you know what I'm saying? Adam was, the progenitor of the Hebrews, you know what I'm saying, which led into being, down the line, you know what I'm saying, the Israelites. So he was the man that the Lord chose in order to watch over, you know what I'm saying, the earth, you know what I'm saying, all the creatures of the earth. You know what I'm saying, because even before the Israelites, the Lord always have a specific man that he rose up in order to, keep the law, statutes, and commandments. You know what I'm saying? These such things, they were passed down from generation to generation until it was that he came up, until it was that he, brought forth Abraham, Isaac, and then Jacob, and then he made the covenant with our forefather Jacob. I'm saying, changing Jacob's name to Israel and making a nation out of him and giving him the promises that were, passed down through these men of valor. I'm saying these men that the Lord saw fit in order to rule the earth. Because you can look from, Genesis, and you can just read down, and you can see to where the Lord chose specific men, to keep what it was that he saw, holy, which was the law, statutes, commandments. And that was just passed down from generation to generation, which is why only specific men, and women were able to keep such things. Slovakia. Thou madest Lord of all thy creatures. Says the Lord made Adam the creatures. I'm saying this person that was supposed to take care of them and look after them. Of him come we all. So that's something that not only, those of us that are Christian like to say, but that's something that those of us that follow, traditional ways of life like to, point out more than anything. Those of us that have that spiritual way of life, they like to sit there and say, well, we're all one people. We all bleed red. We all come from the great spirit. You know what I'm saying? Mother Earth, Father Sky. I'm saying not knowing that this, you know what I'm saying, it's truly just a Christian way of thinking. Because when the I.S.U.P.K tries to sit there and say that we are the Lord's chosen people, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, and then Christians will sit there and say, oh, well, we all come from Adam, therefore we're all the same people. And when the I.S.U.P.K sits there and says that we are the chosen people to natives with traditional, ways of thinking, they'll sit there and say, well, we all come from the Great Spirit. You know what I'm saying? We're all one people at the end of the day. We all bleed red. Knowing damn well that our oppressor has never felt the same way about us. Knowing damn well that no matter how much it is that we bleed for our oppressor and sit there and shuck and jive for him to try to, gain his favor, he's never going to give a damn about us. You know what I'm saying? We're about to go into why it is that these people never truly gave a damn about us, no matter how much it is that we give all of our love to him. Of him come we all, and the people also whom thou hast chosen. So that's letting us know that the Lord chose a specific nation of people, chosen for a specific purpose. I'm saying not only is it to keep these laws, statutes, commandments, but it's to have complete and utter rulership of the earth. You know what I'm saying? We're supposed to be the ones to rule this earth, to decide what it is that gets to be done and what it is, you can't do. Because we'd rather sit there and love our oppressor, we ignore what it is that the Lord told us to do. We'd rather sit there and believe what it is that our oppressor provides us with. Our oppressor tells us, you know what I'm saying, oh, well, in the land of America, there's been ruins here for, I don't know, I'm saying 10, 12,000 years. You know what I'm saying? There's no way that so-called natives could be the tribe of Gad. Instead of questioning these things, we gladly accept them because in our eyes, there can be no wrong in the white man. Even if we look at the past that he's done. What it is he provides us with, it's got to be factual. It's got to be true. You know what I'm saying? This is the person that's the chosen people of the Lord. When in reality, the white man is the wicked of the earth. He is who the Lord hates. At the end of the day, so-called Native Indians, blacks, and Hispanics is who the Lord chose to take up that mantle of Adam. Who the Lord chose to take care of the earth and the animals. And to not only take care of, the animals and the earth, which our people, obviously have been doing since, what I'm saying, we came over to these lands, and even before then, which you can look up throughout, any culture, and you can see where we respected the earth so much so that sadly we would sit there and worship it like it was some goddamn god, not knowing that it would lead to our destruction. You know what I'm saying? But we can look into these things, and this is just one way to find out who it is that is the chosen people. I'm saying, because our oppressor, he doesn't take care of the earth. He's sitting there dumping all kinds of trash and plastic and toxins, you know what I'm saying, into the ocean. He's the one that's making all these gigantic landfills that are never going to, decompose, and are just taking up all types of land that can be contributed to, animals or plants. But because our people have such a love for, what I'm saying, these wicked bastards, and because we've been misled and deceived by so many people, not only our oppressor, but these so-called leaders, whether you've got a official title or you're just some random, nigga out there, trying to spread awareness about something. Whether you're just some goddamn keyboard warrior sitting there spreading false information amongst our people without, actually backing it up. Saying whether our people like it or not, we are a chosen people, a people that are supposed to, think and move completely, differently from these other nations. Saying we can't be a chosen people if we are doing the same damn thing that all these other nations are doing. If we're doing the same thing that all these other nations, have tried to force on us, and some of the things that the other nations have successfully forced on us. You're saying we got to separate from these things. We got to come back to doing what it is we're supposed to be doing. Verse 55, all this have I spoken before thee, O Lord. You know what I'm saying? It was spoken obviously in the Old Testament. So which those of us that blindly follow the Christian church and listen to them when, they say that the Old Testament is done away with, or those of us that foolishly believe our oppressor who will try to carbon date the earth to be millions of years old. You know what I'm saying? There's truly only, one time period that our people can follow and accept. Because without the white man, we wouldn't be able to come up with all these, ridiculous ideas of something going back, just thousands upon thousands upon thousands upon thousands of years and even millions of years, to where we evolved from a bunch of goddamn bacteria and fish. So like, because thou madest the Lord, Salakia, because thou madest the world for our sakes. So all these luxurious things that you see, these other nations out here doing, all this traveling and buying expensive things, just all these things that, you could only hope and dream to do. Saying the scriptures let us know that the Lord made these things for us as a nation. Saying, because little do we know, the word world does not mean the entire goddamn earth. I'm saying world means age or society. So all these luxurious things that, these other nations are doing in today's society, you know what I'm saying, whether you're skydiving, buying luxurious cars or boats, taking, trips across the ocean, taking, private jets, flying on helicopters, you know what I'm saying, having all these exotic and luxurious animals. You know what I'm saying? Just anything you can set your mind to. That's what us as a people we're supposed to be doing. But because we've been lied to so much by, these fake leaders, fake spiritual leaders, fake religious leaders, you know what I'm saying, we don't know the truth of this Bible, and we sit there and we try to debunk it. You know what I'm saying? We try to make it seem like it's something that isn't plausible to pertain to us as a people. when this book right here has future prophecies, you know what I'm saying, from thousands of years ago that can pertain to us as a nation until today, that were written specifically for us as a nation. Just like this book has, you know, the slave trade. You know what I'm saying, it's got the Trail of Tears in it. It's got World War I, II, and soon to come 3. You know what I'm saying? It's got all these things in it. But because we've been misled about this book, we can't accept anything that, you know, it brings forth as being truth. And not only because we've been misled as a whole, but because a lot of us on the reservations are nothing but selfish bastards. A lot of us would much rather sit there and get some type of personal gain out of something rather than seeing our nation come up as a whole. Verse 56, as for the other people which also come of Adam. So this is talking about the people that the Lord did not choose to be a special people unto himself. So that would be, you know what I'm saying, Asians, Arabs, Africans, you're saying Europeans, Slovakia, East Indians, you know what I'm saying, all these nations outside of the 12 tribes of Israel that our people want to so desperately, you know, defend with every fiber of their being, so much so that we'll go as far as to say that we came from, you know what I'm saying, Asia. You know what I'm saying? We are Asian. That we'd rather claim the lineage of a goddamn Mongoloid than to claim, you know what I'm saying, that of something that is righteous. Thou hast said that they are nothing but be like unto spittle. So all these other nations I just named outside of blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, the God of this Bible views them as being equivalent to spit. I'm saying, and everybody in, not only in class, but just randomly walking the streets, they know how much value spit holds in them. You know what I'm saying? We spit every goddamn day, and we don't bat an eye at what it was we just, you know, rejected out of our bodies. So all them Asians over there getting sick and dying from the coronavirus, the Lord sees them as being spittle. You know what I'm saying? All them that are perishing over there in Asia, shit, that's nothing to the Lord. And the same thing goes for all the Europeans and Arabs and Africans that are affected by said virus and that are going to be affected by future viruses sent from the Lord. He don't give a damn about a single one of them. But it's us as a people, we sit there and naturally go against the Lord. We would rather care about those disgusting mongoloids perishing from the virus. We would rather worry about the devils across seas, you know what I'm saying, getting sick and dying. Same thing goes for all these other nations. These are the people we care about rather than our own inside of what is supposed to be our own lands. And we don't give a damn about any of these brothers, any of these sisters. I'm saying that's not just the coronavirus. That has to do with everything that's going on in the res. Because at the end of the day, if you truly cared, you know what I'm saying, you wouldn't just be sitting there, you know what I'm saying, being a goddamn keyboard warrior. You'd be trying to make a difference. You'd be out on the streets. You'd be hitting up organizations being like, hey, man, you know, we're short on such a so-and-so. We could use some help. You know what I'm saying? By you doing so, you know what I'm saying, the native people of this land would truly appreciate it. And if you truly wanted help, you'd simply come into the I.S.U.P.K. I'm saying we got food programs to feed the entire nation. And when I say entire nation, I'm talking about not only so-called Native Indians, I'm talking about Blacks and Hispanics. Because as we brought out in the curses earlier, the Lord ain't going to be with you if you ain't keeping these laws, statutes, commandments. All this food you're trying to grow and build up, the Lord is simply going to cause it to rot away, to be destroyed. But yeah, in the I.S.U.P.K, we've got our own, you know, crops that we can supply to the nation. We got our own food programs that we can supply. It's like necessities in order for our nation to survive. But instead, we'd rather come against the school in order to, you know, seek some type of vain glory and making yourselves feel good. Slack you. And has likened the abundance of them unto a drop that falleth from a vessel. I'm saying, so all these Asians that are getting sick, all these Africans and Arabs that are starving, you know what I'm saying, and both these things go for, you know what I'm saying, obviously the Europeans over in Europe. You know what I'm saying, the Lord has likened, you know what I'm saying, the abundance of them. So this large amount of number of people that are suffering at the hands of the Lord, whether they are sick, starving, you know what I'm saying, causing war with one another. You know what I'm saying? The Lord, he don't give a damn about any of them that perish in, you know what I'm saying, these conflicts and these acts. Which is why he's likened the abundance, you know what I'm saying, a large number of them as unto a drop. So for instance, let's say you're just, you know what I'm saying, you're just drinking something. You pull away and just, you know what I'm saying, you lose a little bit of water. So that's how the Lord sees these other nations as just some that he can watch fall, you know what I'm saying, and perish. And he'll come back to the whole of it, and he'll be like, you know what, I don't need that. You know what I'm saying, it's cool. You know what I'm saying, let that be one with, you know what I'm saying, let it be one with the soil. You know what I'm saying, it's truly something that the Lord don't give a damn about. But yeah, our people are the top ones to shuck and jive and be Uncle Tomahawks to try to save these people, to try to get some type of blessing, knowing damn well that our nation has been at the bottom since 1492, and knowing damn well that we will remain at the bottom until it is that we separate from these other nations and get rulership over this earth. That's truly the only way that things will change for our people as a whole. Slocky. Uh-oh. We're going to go into book of Romans, chapter 9, and verse 13. Give you one more second to get there. All right, we're going to go ahead and get into it. Book of Romans, chapter 9 and verse 13. As it is written, have I slacked. Jacob have I loved. Those of you that don't know, Jacob is the forefather of blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Okay, so naturally, I'm saying somebody sits there and they love this certain person. I'm saying they're gonna love the offspring that came from, this person that they had such a deep love for. So as the Lord loved Jacob, I'm saying he's gonna have that same amount of love for his children and his children's children. I'm saying, and so on and so forth. But Esau have I hated. I'm saying, and Esau is the forefather of so-called, Europeans, so-called Americans. I'm saying, whatever the hell you want to call them. You know what I'm saying? That's their forefather. And just like he hated, the same man whose loins these people came from, he's going to have the same feelings for, obviously his children. And that's for any, group of people. Any, whether you're, let's say you're like a individual that's beefing with somebody and you got nothing but hatred for them, you're gonna have those same feelings for the children of this person that you got hatred for. You're gonna want nothing but their destruction, and to see them be brought down so goddamn low in American society. So which that's just something natural. You're not just gonna love, what I'm saying? You're gonna love somebody and then just all of a sudden hate their goddamn children or their grandchildren, great grandchildren. You know what I'm saying? That love is gonna be passed down through, the generations. Passed down from, father to son, or so on and so forth. I'm saying, but the Lord doesn't hate so-called white people due to the color of their skin. like, white people hate blacks, Hispanics, and natives due to the color of our skin. You know what I'm saying? The Lord ain't a simpleton like that. You know what I'm saying? That's something you can expect from our oppressor, but it's truly not something that you would expect from the Lord. Salaki. So we're gonna go into some of the few reasons why the Most High God hates the white man. You know what I'm saying? Hates our oppressor. And to simply put it, it's got to do with the crimes that he's committed against the Lord's chosen people. I'm saying we're gonna bring up just a few crimes that our oppressor has committed. The American Holocaust, page 117, in the second paragraph, in the middle of the paragraph. This is talking about a group of natives, Slovakia, a nation of natives in the New England territories, and about how it was that the settlers dealt with said natives. As to what to do with that handful of survivors. So this is after, disease already swept through the land, and our oppressor sat there and shot down and slashed, every native in sight. Only two choices, as always, enjoyed any support among the English colonists: annihilation or enslavement. So it's letting us know that there were only two choices amongst all the people, in this territory that they truly ever favored and that they would truly ever choose, which was either to completely wipe out, a nation of people, or to simply enslave the entire nation. To put them in chains until they were just completely and utterly, either submissive or destroyed. Allegedly, dangerous Indians, that is, adult males, were systematically executed. So this is going to let us know that, truly you didn't have to be, somebody that was trying to rise up against, the settlers in New England. You just had to be an adult male, and these people would sit there and, stab you to death, slash you to death. You know what I'm saying? Have you ripped apart by dogs, gunned down. You know what I'm saying? All these different types of ways, these people would sit there and kill us. Because at the end of the day, our oppressor knew that, the males were the head of the households back then. I'm saying we were the authority figure, and that figure that was supposed to protect not only our households but our nation. I'm saying our lands. So when they got us weak enough, they would sit there and they would absolutely slaughter all adult males, saying leaving, all these young men left to be raised by, women, which is why till this day we got so many effeminate, men because they were raised by their mothers. You know what I'm saying? So they'll sit there and they'll get in their feelings like some bitch. You know what I'm saying? That's why so many men in our nations have, you know what I'm saying, characteristics of a woman. Because so many of us didn't have our fathers to sit there and raise us to be a goddamn man of war like we're supposed to be. While women and children were either shipped off to the slave markets of Spain or the West Indies. So after these devils got done slaughtering, you know what I'm saying, all the grown men that could teach, you know, morals and standards amongst our communities, and to teach our young men to be warriors, after they got done slaughtering them, they would take our women and our children and they would either take them over to Europe or they'd take them to the West Indies to be slaves. You're saying that for those of us that'll sit there and say, oh, well, you see, we can't all be one people because they took us to the West Indies to you know, be their slaves. I'm saying, but for those of us that don't have, you know what I'm saying, just the simplest of educations or the simplest of research, you know what I'm saying, you'd know that East Indians own the West Indies, which is why they got businesses and establishments and just an overall, you know, presence in those lands till this day. So we'd go to the West Indies, you know what I'm saying, then we'd go over to India, and we would go over to Africa, saying and so on and so forth. We'd just be bouncing around until eventually we truly ended up in, you know, our homelands, just to be, you know, rounded up and enslaved again or massacred with, you know, whatever tribe it was that we were roaming with, or were kept as servants of the colonists themselves. Saying, so if we weren't either shipped off across the ocean, you know what I'm saying, then we ended up being slaves to, you know what I'm saying, these same people in this land that we love till this day. Because whether they accept it, believe it, or understand it or not, you know what I'm saying, the people today, they come from those that settled in, you know, the 13 colonies. These are the same people that have gotten rich off the blood, sweat, and tears of natives, blacks, and Hispanics. The terms of captured child slaves within Connecticut were to end once they reached the age of 26. Slacky. Come on. So that lets us know that they would sit there and they would have us, not only us, but our children as slaves, I'm saying, for just decades, really. You know what I'm saying? There was no safety back then for our children, no matter what it was that we did, no matter how much we would plead and try to bargain. I'm saying they would always use us for whatever would fit their own agenda, their own needs. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap up the class. So one thing us as a people got to realize is just like all these other nations, I'm saying, are racist and prefer their own, I'm saying, over our people in any other nation. I'm saying the Lord feels the same way about his chosen people. I'm saying he could only ever give a damn about our nation. He could only ever, want our people to come out on top. Saying, but when we're sitting there and following all these different philosophies and ideals, I'm saying, the Lord, he ain't going to be with us. And he ain't going to ensure that we come out on top of these other nations. Because at the end of the day, we got some type of, corrupted morality when we follow these different beliefs and ideals. So we're going to go ahead and get into the security announcements. We are the I.S.U.P.K. So like you start out 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brothers and sisters. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. Book of Numbers, chapter 18 and verse 21. Book of Malachi, chapter 3, verse 8 to 10. Means tenth in the Hebrew. Ma'ashra. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give to Treasury Department or teacher. Priest fund. It's a free will offering for priests. It's not mandatory. It's whatsoever amount you would like. Upcoming holy convocations. I'm saying the next high holy day is the Passover. I'm saying on April 9th, it'll be held in New York. I'm saying you can go to our website to get all the information you'd like, to know when to show up. I'm saying to know what events it is we're having going on during that whole week. You say not only in New York, but across the entire, United States. If anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, to start wearing all black, boots, shirt, pants, headband, and a war scarf. With that said, I majum, which means to stand. Upanihak with dum means turn and face the east. We're going to start with the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. Quadash, Hayya, Shemka, Yahweh, Balakuka, Taba'ah, Ratazaika, Hayya, Aisha, Barataza, Kawa, Hayya, Bashamayim, Nathan, Lanawa, Lakam, Call, Yawam, Wasalakan, Mayan, Rai, Kaya, Laka, Hamalakwith, Wa'ala, Wa'ataparath, Lawadamyam, Aman. The Lord's Prayer in the English. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Yahweh, thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it. Amen. The prayer for the Hakak, or the power in the Hebrew. Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Babakashah, Netananau, Hakak, Hakak, La Rapa'ah, Ka Makala, Wakal Marawa, Hakak, La Tahor, Hamatazarayim, Hakak, La Hakim, Hamathium, Hakak, Al Rakawath, Atamala, Lagarashan, Ba'ashem Yahushai, the water Aman. The prayer for the power in the English. Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai, please give us the power to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease, the power to cleanse the lepers, the power to raise the dead, the power against unclean spirits, to cast them out. In the name of Yahushai, thank you. So be it. The prayer for the blessings in the Hebrew. Barakatah Yahweh, wa Yahushai, wa Yagala, wa Lahayim, Madzabiyah, I.S.U.P.K, Halawapium, Hazaranyum, Hakwatazayanyum, Akayayayam, Wakwathian, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, the water Aman. The prayer for the blessings in the English. Bless you, Yahweh, and Yahushai, and Michael, and the angels, commanding General Yahanna, the generals, the captains, the officers, the troopers, and the sisters. Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai, thank you. So be it. Blessed are you, Yahweh, King of heaven and earth, and all things living. Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai, listen to us now, right now. Send evils and curses, and punishment and destruction, and death to the heathen that speak against us, thy prophets, the teachers, the princes, the priests, the Israelite brothers, and the school. Send evils and curses, and punishment and destruction, and death to the heathen, and shake loose the pockets of the rich of Israel that refuse to give to the school. Force their riches to enter into thy sanctuary. Send evils and curses, and punishment and destruction, and death to the Edomites, and the nations, and their drug dealers, the court system, the prison system, Planned Parenthood, all the governments of our enemies, Amalek synagogues and armies, Roman Catholic Church, the Pope, Islam, Christianity, Egyptology, militia, Ku Klux Klan, Aryan Nation, skinheads, Posse Comitazi, the gay movement, the lesbian movement, spies, workers of witchcraft, NASA space programs, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Wall Street. Open up the internet and the airways, the cable access channels, and the radio channels. Convict the spirit of any of thy people that seek to stop us, and bring swift death to all the heathen that stand in the way or try to stop us from broadcasting your words throughout the planet Earth. Let loose all the terrorists, cause them to go to and fro throughout the earth, and destroy Cause the terrorists to come against America and destroy them in their strongholds. Let America shake at the hands of the terrorists. Let Yahushua, Michael, and Gabriel come down with the flying saucers and kill all the heathens that come up against us as we speak thy word. Cause it to be known by all that it is the angels that have done it. Cause it to be spread throughout the media, throughout the whole world. Cause them to shake at thy coming. In the name of Yahushua, thank you. Always. So be it. Sar, which means eternity.